Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. For consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrantsjournal.com. That's www.theimmigrantsjournal.com.
Hello, my name is Mary Campbell, legal assistant at the law firm of Figueroa and Associates, and your presenter with this week's immigration news. The state of Texas isn't just creating chaos and cruelty at the border. It's trying to break the things that work. For decades, the Catholic nonprofit Annunciation House has worked to support migrants in El Paso, Texas. It's provided shelter, food, and services to countless people who have just arrived in the United States, many of whom have been released directly from government custody after being apprehended and processed by Customs and Border Protection, and many of whom would otherwise be sleeping on the street. But the state of Texas is trying to put a stop to all that. Last month, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton sued to strip Annunciation House of its status as a nonprofit organization. Immigration parole is a well-worn tool for U.S. presidents. It faces a big test in 2024 elections. President Biden has made more use of immigration parole than any American president to bypass an uncooperative Congress, but he's hardly the first. The presidential power has been a centerpiece of Biden's strategy to channel immigrants through new and expanded legal pathways and discourage illegal crossings, a radical difference from his rival Donald Trump. Biden granted at least 1 million temporary visits, which generally include eligibility to work. Trump has said during his campaign to return to the White House that he would end the outrageous abuse of parole. Parole, which was created under a 1952 law, allows the president to admit people only on a case-by-case basis for urgent humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit. It has been ordered 126 times by every president since then except for Trump, according to David Beer of the Pro-Immigration Cato Institute. Immigration is taking pressure off the job market and U.S. economy, expert says. The share of immigrants in the U.S. labor force has steadily increased for more than a decade, and that growth is poised to continue, a trend economists say benefits the American workforce and economy. In 2006, 15.3% of the civilian labor force was made up of foreign-born workers, or those born outside the U.S., according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That share hit a record 18.6% in 2023. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics, said the increase in foreign-born workers is taking pressure off the economy. In fact, it's probably one reason why the economy grew so strongly last year, he said. The growth in foreign-born workers comes amid a contentious immigration policy debate in the U.S. In New York, an historic first, construction contractor criminally charged an immigrant worker's death. The landmark indictment charges Michael Conway with a felony and 2 counts of reckless endangerment following the death of immigrant worker Joseph Vega. When 46-year-old immigrant construction worker Joseph Vega was killed on May 4, 2021, his death was another incident in the growing number of trench-related fatalities for the year. But on Monday, February 26, Vega's death made history when a Westchester County grand jury indicted his supervisor, Michael Conway, 59, who was overseeing the construction site when Vega died. Renewed scrutiny for city's deadline policy as number of immigrants in shelter declines. The number of newly arrived immigrants now in the city's care is around 64,000. Down from more than 69,000 in mid-January, what City Hall has attributed in part to shelter deadlines. A bill in the City Council would end the controversial policy, which critics say has forced people into precarious situations, sleeping on the streets, on the floors of churches, and in unsafe, as evidenced by an incident recently in which the city evacuated a Queens basement storefront, where an estimated 70 people had allegedly been staying. But while Mayor Eric Adams says the limited shelter stays are intended to help new arrivals take the next step in their journey, the administration also admits that it isn't tracking where people go after they leave the system. Meanwhile, Supreme Court temporarily blocks Texas law. The Supreme Court on Monday, March 4, temporarily blocked a new Texas immigration law in response to a Biden administration request. In an order issued by conservative Justice Samuel Alito, the court froze a lower court decision that would have allowed the law to go into effect Sunday. The ruling is now blocked until March 13, giving all 9 justices more time to determine what next steps to take. Alito also ordered Texas to respond to the Biden administration request by March 11. The law in question, known as SB 4, allows police to arrest migrants who illegally cross the border from Mexico and imposes criminal penalties. Additional guidance on valid passports or travel documents for fiscal year 2025 H-1B registrations. On February 2, 2024, the Department of Homeland Security published a final rule to improve the H-1B registration selection process and program integrity. This rule created a beneficiary-centric process, under which registrations will be selected by unique beneficiary rather than by individual registration. As previously announced, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will require registrants to provide valid passport information or valid travel document information for each beneficiary. Under the final rule, a valid passport or travel document is required at the registration stage. A passport or travel document that has expired and has not been extended is not considered valid. The passport or travel document listed in the registration must correspond to the passport or travel document the beneficiary intends to use to enter the United States, if or when the beneficiary is abroad. Each beneficiary must be registered under only one passport or travel document. Finally, healthcare for immigrants in New York City. New York City offers options for health coverage to all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status. For New Yorkers who cannot access traditional health insurance, New York City offers NYC Care, a healthcare access program that guarantees low-cost and no-cost services to New Yorkers who do not qualify for or cannot afford health insurance. The Get Covered NYC team provides multilingual, holistic support to ensure everyone can access the health resources to which they are entitled. Thank you.
Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa & Associates. For consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrantsjournal.com. That's www.theimmigrantsjournal.com.